Hello. Chainsaw Man chapter 200 came out today, and we are going to quickly go over it. So the chapter opens with Asa shooting at the sun as the morning comes, and other than just, practicing her finger guns, there's a bit of a wordplay here because Asa's name means morning in Japanese. So more than just her pretending to shoot at the sun, it's more about her having a sort of self-hatred towards herself because, her name is Morning and she shoots at the morning sun. So while she says that she hates getting sunburns, it's more so a reflection of her feelings about herself at the moment. But anyways, Denji gives her a convenience store bread. She takes it. She says that convenience store food is full of bad things for you, full of toxins. But she eats it anyways because she accepts that she is now a toxic person. So Asa's self-esteem is not very good right now. She doesn't feel good about herself at all. She then tells Denji that he was right about enjoying what's in front of you. Which Denji does not remember himself saying. And I went back to the earlier chapters of part 2 as well. I can't really find him saying that either specifically. Maybe I'll have to do another look through. But Denji doesn't remember her or him saying it to her. But Asa reflects on herself a little bit more. She thought about back before all this happened, she was acting very snobby towards her classmates. She act like she was too good to enjoy herself with them. And here she realized that they too have their issues, but they just block it out and enjoy themselves to the best of their abilities. So Asa gained some introspection here, although a bit too late. After she finishes her convenience store bread, Yoru takes over and she and Denji go on a bike ride, where Denji is piloting her so that she can shoot at the chainsaw zombies. And she pops the head off of one of them, which then lands in Denji's bicycle basket. But as they are doing that, they ran into the fake Chainsaw Man. Yoru shoots at him, but he blocks with his cape arm thing. And the explosion blows the two of them off their feet. The fake Chainsaw Man accuses Denji of flirting with the girl, which is unbecoming of Chainsaw Man, and the two of them fight. And I really enjoy this panel. It looks a bit unfinished, but there's a bit of a rawness to it that I really like, and the dynamic poses of the two. And it's been a while since we've seen Denji actually fight by himself. Because the last time we saw him, he was in action. Technically, it was against the aging devil, but he didn't really fight it physically. So the last time we actually saw Denji fight was against Barum and his 3 weapon friends. But anyways, Denji cuts off the arm of one of the arms of the fake Chainsaw Man, and he asks Denji if he knows of the grave mistake that he's made. And the chapter ends. So this could be referring to a lot of things, but we also have to think about from which perspective is this fake Chainsaw Man coming from. Because right now he is being brainwashed by the former Fami, now Death Devil. So first question we have to ask is, does he even have autonomy over what he's saying? And 2 is which Chainsaw Man is he talking to? Because previously, it seemed like, to Denji at least, it seemed like he was addressing him as Pochita. So if that's the case, is he talking about the grave mistake that Pochita's made, or the grave mistake that Denji's made? If it's Denji, there's more we can look at, because for a lot of part 2, he's being pretty complacent about the supposed end of the world. But if it's Pochita, then there is a lot less that we can go off on. For Pochita, I guess the only mistakes could be him fusing with Denji, him eating certain devils in the past, or him whatever happened in his battle with the horsemen and the weapon devils in the past. So we don't have a lot of specifics on Pochita. But for Denji, I guess it could be, as I said earlier, his complacency, or maybe his killing of Makima, because Makima planned on using him to take care of all that's wrong with the world. So maybe this guy could be a fan of Makima's. Unlikely. I don't think that's really the case. I'm trying to think of the other things Denji may have done. But for the most part, it's like the things he didn't do rather than the things that he did do. But anyways, that's the end of the chapter. Another short, action-heavy chapter for the most part. There is a break next week. But yeah. Let's see. Time to read the chat. Please check you are streaming. Thank you, thank you. Author celebrates chapter 200 with Chainsaw Man versus Chainsaw Man. Yes, for personally, I thought for a second that there might be a bit more to chapter 200. And I guess that is a keynote to end it on, the two Chainsaw Men, plural, meeting each other. That being said, I kind of expected a little more. Also not so much, because Fujimoto's never been one to, like, do special occasions for special chapters. I know some manga artists do that. Fujimoto, not that much. For chapter 100, I'm trying to remember. It's literally Asa going to school. But, let me see. Weird we only saw Asa eating and not Denji. I wonder if this represents Asa's last meal. I was gonna get to... Well, let me see. I think... I don't think it's that significant. I feel like if there is a thematic something about, like, Asa's last meal, there would be more to it than just her chewing on the sandwich. We're not a sandwich, it's like a bread. Because Japanese 7-Eleven breads are a little different than sandwiches here. But, what was I saying? Let's see. But yeah, I'll get to food in a bit, because that's something I have wanted to talk about for a bit. Maybe Denji doesn't remember because Asa summarized what Denji meant instead of what he said verbatim. Yeah, I went back to look at the Fallen Devil chapter. Denji's... Well, I'm also summarizing it, paraphrasing it, but Denji's point to Asa at the time was that if there's something you're looking forward to, then you can use that to keep yourself alive. Whereas Asa here is changing what he said, or maybe she misunderstood, and that's where her character's going. She misunderstood what Denji was saying, and she's running with her interpretation of Denji's message. I think that could be a interesting way to go about it as well. Oh, also, I kind of forgot to talk about the real Famine Devil. She's not present in this chapter, but seeing as Denji and Yoru's been kind of possibly separated, split up, it's possible that Asa Yoru's going to meet the Rio family and do whatever from there. There is a theory that's going about that's gaining popularity every week about Asa and Yoru's. So the theory is that Asa and Yoru were never two separate beings to begin with. They are one person, and Asa just like hallucinated Yoru to keep up the facade that she's actually human. And some of this could be adding to it, and especially when I think it could be confirmed when she meets the real Fanny, because the real Fanny is not a dirty liar. There's a big ass spider on my wall. I'm gonna leave it alone. But anyways, so I think we can maybe get a confirmation on that theory in a little bit. I personally, I really like the theory, but I think there's like a pretty big roadblock in that the real Death Devil, the former Fami, when she first showed up, she addressed Yoru directly and she expelled her from Asa's body. So that's the first confirmation that beings outside of Asa's head knows the existence of Yoru. So it's like, it's a cool theory. I don't know if that's how it's gonna go though. But anyways, back to chat. Let me see. Where was I? Asa realizing how people ignore their stress reminded you of how Denji realized how people have goals, and his should be grabbing titties or the part how being normal sucks. You know, I do think about the validity of Asa's enlightenment of sorts, and that everyone has their own problems, but they are just also enjoying life and not thinking about it out loud. Um, I don't know. I mean, I feel like Asa had a valid complaint. Her life was pretty bad, worse than most others that we saw. Although I guess the point is that they don't really know what others going through. Because the only other student that she got close to was Yuko, and she is also an orphan, so I don't know. But I guess this enlightenment is brought about by her sitting over a destroyed city overrun by zombies. So in light of that, I guess she thought that her own concerns might be previously in the past. Now she has big concerns because Yoru is planning something terrible apparently. But I guess she realized that her concerns in the past as an orphan, as a student, wasn't that bad. But part one was about Denji being human. Part two feels like Denji lost his humanity. Denji stole from the dead and laughing at people dying. You drop when he wouldn't attack Santa Claus zombies. Yeah, for sure. I think, like, after Aki and Power died, his empathy level just went away a lot. Because even in his first appearance in part two was letting the cockroach devil kill some random young boy and some old people in the car. So his ability to empathize with others definitely not as much as when he was with Aki. Let's see, part one, I already read that. Forgot to mention, but on chapter 150, Denji steps on the crow and Pochita is on the same pose as the crow. You wonder if that's foreshadowing of Pochita's role in Death Devil's plan. Denji steps on the crow and Pochita is... Alright, let me look at that chapter. Chapter 150. Was that the one? I think that's the one where their house got burnt down, wasn't it? You know what? That is a really detailed panel of him stepping on a crow. Denji. Yeah, and then it transitioned to Pochita in that same position. If we want to get English literary analysis about this, I would almost say that, like, just my first thought off the top of my head with context of what's happening currently would be Denji killing the Death Devil would have ramifications on his relationship with Pochita. So it's like him killing the Death Devil might result in him getting rid of Pochita from his body as well, which is a lot of what Asa was trying to do previously, Asa and Yoru. So probably a foreshadowing of some kind. Foreshadowing for what specifically, I'm not sure. Let me copy and paste that panel, actually. But yeah, I have never stepped on the crow, personally. But he did. Ba, ba, ba. So that's a good call. It's an otherwise panel, a panel I otherwise probably wouldn't remember. Toxic couple can mean either Denji and Asa or Asa and Yoru. Yes. Because earlier, it almost looked like at this point Asa is letting Yoru come out voluntarily. I didn't capture that panels because there was like 4 of them, but it's like Asa, she finished eating, she closed her eyes, and then Yoru comes out. So to me, it looked like Asa was letting Yoru out by herself. Uh, see how the dialogue box for Fake Cell Man on the last page comes from a different mouth. Let me see. Yes, it is from the top mouth, the helmet part of his head. I do, yeah, there was, like, he did say something about 2 of them, more than one being in him, referring to what he thought as the Justice Devil, the voices of, I guess, the Fire Devil now, from him. So it could be a possibility. It could also just be that Fujimoto didn't want to use the arrow to cover up bits of the art. That being said, that's not exactly like high quality art. He could definitely do that. I don't know. Could be a hint to that as well. That's a good catch. Let me see. All the previous dialogue from Chainsaw Man has pointed to the bottom mouth. The fake Chainsaw Man. Alright, let me check this again. Well, I'm not sure about that because I'm looking at the last chapter, and right off the bat, he's yelling from the upper mouth almost. It's harder to tell in like the yelling speech bubbles, but here is the panel. It's kind of looking like it's pointing to the upper side as well here. He also just yells a lot of his dialogue, so it's difficult to tell in this case. Honestly, I think most of it, from the last chapter at least, are coming from the upper mouth. Yeah, from even before the Death Devil showed up, he was yelling from the upper head. I don't think it's even the mouth. It's like that's just the way he is. Fujimoto's directing his speech bubbles. But yeah, it's an interesting idea though. Japanese bread is basically buns with filling inside, right? Yes, usually so there's a couple more bigger ones. There is like a curry bread. They put curry with mincemeat inside your bread. And then there is yakisoba bread, which is like a hot dog bun, but they put the yakisoba noodles in it. It's a lot of carbs. I don't think it's like the best thing to eat. And then there's the cream bread, as you were talking about. They put cream in the middle of a circular bread. There is like a melon bread. It's not like a watermelon, but it's like a they put what do you call it? They put the not stuffing. They put like a little egg wash on top of the circular bread. Let me pull up to Asa eating bread. So I think the more common ones would probably be like red bean paste in Japan at least. That's like the default one. Um, yes, yes. Let me think. I think I'm missing another big bread. No, I think I covered them all. That's like the more common ones. They would sell you that in the school cafeteria often. Honeydew melon, yeah, cantaloupe. Well, it's not. It doesn't actually taste like cantaloupe at all. It tastes like it's like salty. It just looks like like honestly though, it doesn't even look like a watermelon or a melon of any kind. It just let me try to find a picture of it. It just has like a little egg wash. I don't like it that much because I feel the texture is not my thing. Texture is like kind of rough. It's I guess yeah. So they cut it into like a ham almost. So that's the melon bread. But what Asa's having here is probably red bean paste, because red bean paste they put like some sesame on top. So that's like the more I think would be the most common for them. Ooh, but yeah. Speaking of bread, on the well, I was actually gonna say that I have a video coming up, probably the end of the week that I've been editing for a while. I actually have two videos that I was working on. One of them is the cosmic horror of Chainsaw Man. I haven't came up with the thumbnail for that. But this one is more lighthearted, more yeah, more I guess less horror and more the food of what they eat, like what kind of food they're eating, the narrative purpose of the foods, and sometimes the historical and cultural significance of these said foods. Most of the food covered are like in part one. For the most part, I'm done recording this one, just editing it for now. But yeah, last week I said I was gonna start doing outros on comments that people left. Honestly, not that many comments this time. Mostly pretty standard positive comments, which I appreciate. Bored, very, very bored says he's very excited for chapter 200. This is chapter 200. Very, actually, I like the chapter. I wouldn't say not that much. I like the action scenes. Like I said, this panel was really good. I loved like Denji's head here, head pose here. Um, Other than that, I also like the what do you call this? Not like a narrative purpose here of Asa hating herself, hating the sun, hating the morning. I like that as well. And then also her, I guess the idea if she's like mistaking Denji's point and now adopting it as her own. I like that possibility as well. I don't know if that's on purpose or that's something that we will be following up on. Probably is, but we'll see. Uh, what else was I gonna say? This shot is really cool too. It took me a while to kind of understand what he was doing, because I think the confusing part for me for this panel in particular is that he deflects the shot, Yoru's shot. The bullet bounced off to the buildings behind him, but then for some reason, Yoru and Denji falls off the bike. So I guess the explosion, the force of the explosion, or maybe the debris from the explosion, forced them to stop riding the bike. This panel is a little confusing, just from the direction of the bullet. If he like smacked the bullet back at them, I can see that. But yeah, also I guess this guy's judgment of Denji is something to look forward to. Not very specific, but I can't really think of much that Denji's done wrong. But yeah, other chapter. He's very glad he found my videos. Keep it up, man. Oh, thank you. My ego doing some work. But yeah, if you guys want to leave more comments, that'd be nice for me to have more outros to go off on. Let's see. Let's see. Back to some comments. You truly believe Chainsaw Man will have a part 3? Author love movies and most iconic movies have trilogies. Ooh, that's actually a really good point. Honestly, I thought that Fujimoto might not be doing another sequel because he previously said that in the future he wants to take on a more writing role. He said that he wants to be more like Akasaka, which, you know, just be the writer and have other people do the art for him. And Fujimoto is also known for like shorter works in the past. But the trilogy thing is a good point as well, because most popular famous movies, a lot of them are trilogy based. Although part 2 is also a bit longer, I thought he might just conclude everything here. But we'll see. I don't think, if I have to like take a wild guess, I would say that it's not exactly set in stone yet. Because I don't know if Fujimoto ever said when he planned on doing part 2. I think someone asked him if he planned on doing part 2 while like he was working on part 1. I don't remember the answer he gave. But let's see. Does Makima lollipop count as food? Does she ever eat a lollipop? Because I just went over the part 1 chapters. You know what? Yeah, she does. No, I didn't count that because it's literally just a lollipop. I can tell you what I counted for Makima. For Makima, I had her corn dog in chapter 2 because it was cut from the anime. And then there is some differences between the Japanese corn dog and like American corn dog that I went over a bit. What else? I think that's all I had for Makima, but I did go as for like the food she ate. But for food that she became, I covered a bit of tonkatsu, which is like fried pork cutlet, and the intestine stew. Those are the foods that I went over for Makima. Not the lollipop, because lollipop is kind of I don't think there's really anything culturally significant about lollipops in Japan that I can find. I thought about doing ice cream for Kobeni and Pochita for a little bit, but I don't think that's anything like I can really delve on. I went into it a bit for stuff like curry that has a lot of history that became a it's like a there's a deep history in with curry in Japan, so I went into that a bit. What else did I go over? But yeah, it's usually like food that has some historical significance that I can draw from. That's what I cover for the most part. Let's see. Part 2 was planned during volume 6 and 7. Ooh, did he? I think I remember him because it had to be planned like before the very ending. If you can link the interview, that would be really appreciated. Because I remember reading a Reddit comment about him answering that question, but like they didn't post a source for the article. Let's see. Denji Supreme Toast. Yes, I actually covered the combination toast. He put like plum jam, mandarin jam, honey, butter, and some other stuff on it. I never had that myself, but I think the Japanese bread is really good as well, was the point I made during that section of the video. Cause if you guys never had the Japanese bread, I think you can go to like a local Asian bakery and find it. Cause the nearby, like the other Asian countries around the area, they pretty much adopted the milk bread themselves too. So it's like they put milk in the dough and mix it instead of just water. And it's like super fluffy and super, I don't know how to describe it. It's because regular toast here, it's like you eat the toast and it's like kind of dry, kind of hard. Whereas Japanese bread, it's called shokupan. I don't know what shoku means, but it's like milk bread. I don't think shoku even means milk. I should have looked into what shoku means specifically. Does shoku mean milk? Let me look this up. Shoku meaning shoku means meal. So it's not like a milk bread translation, but I guess other people found that it's made of milk, so they called it milk bread. Um but yeah, milk bread, really good. I think I don't know if I'm biased, because you know how some people are like a thing that's Japanese, and some people are like, oh, so good because it's Japanese, and I'm like that too. I might be getting into my head a little bit, but when I went there, I thought the marmalade was really good as well. I don't know what's different from like the marmalade here. I guess here we use like more orange jam, fruit jam, more than marmalade. But the marmalade there was so good. I don't know what they did with it. You still love Shokugeki no Soma. Last week we talked a little bit about shows and series that disappointed us with the endings, and Shokugeki no Soma for me is one of them that disappointed me a lot. And I actually dropped it way before the supposed bad parts started happening, which I feel is a natural talent of mine. I tend to see when the series is starting to go downhill, and I drop it maybe like sometime in advance before that happens. Another example for me is in Sword Art Online. I watched maybe like the first 13 episodes, and then apparently people say the first season not that bad. I disagree. And I can tell you the exact moment when I dropped Sword Art Online. It's when Kirito, because you're supposed to be able to do anything in the game world. Because in the show they are turned into video game characters. They're supposed to do anything. They can have infinite possibilities. And then one day, the main character Kirito, he apparently unlocks a special skill that nobody else in the world, in the game world, can do. And what is that special skill? It's that he can use a sword on his other hand. So that broke my mind because for a series about, you know, characters being able to do literally anything in the game world, they can't use a sword with their left hand. What the heck? That will make no sense to me. So right that moment, I was like, this show, I can't stand it anymore. But anyways, let's see. Light Night says it's from Jump Fiesta 2011. Okay. Actually, yeah. Thank you. I'll write that down really quick, just so I can remember that, because I'm holding a mic with my other hand. I actually bought a mic stand from Amazon this week so that I can start doing these with two hands instead of one hand. Jump Festa 2021. But yeah, thank you. Let's see. But yeah, no, I dropped Shokugeki no Soma in like chapter 100, like 35, I think, or 40, because back then they introduced Erina's dad into the show. And then he started crucifying kids. He specifically crucified this one, I think, sumo club child, young man. And that was really weird to me because up to that point, I can like kind of understand the like Shokugeki no Soma has a suspension of disbelief up to that point where I can kind of see that happening where like, you know, there's a school for culinary kids to go to train and compete and whatever. But the moment that her dad started like tying up kids on, you know, on poles naked, I was like, this is a bit too much for me. I can no longer have the suspension of disbelief anymore. This does not feel realistic. Because I think the first 100 chapters of Soma felt more like a sports manga, almost. But now it's like, we're not now. It's been over for years. And also, I was a Megumi Soma shipper. I did not like Erina at all in that series. So for another part of me dropping it is because I sensed that the author was going to make Soma end with Erina, and I was like, what the heck? That's not what I want. But yeah, let's see. Or maybe it was 2022. Sent the link. Thank you. Yeah, honestly, I think 2021 makes sense as well because it ended in 2020. He took a break in 2021 and made a comeback in 2022. So I don't know when the Jump Festas are published. If they were published in like summer, then it makes sense to be 2022. But yeah, I think I've exhausted all I can talk about this week and more. Thanks for participating, everyone. And also, if anyone knows how I can alt-tab on OBS without the screen going black, that would be appreciated because I have one monitor and I alt-tab to read the chat. And I think when I do, the screen capture just goes black for that. So that is not what I want. If anyone got any tips for that, that would be helpful. But yeah, that's about all I got. We already have Jump Festa. Oh, it's in the beginning of the year. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I always thought that's why I always thought it's the end of the year because I remember it was like in the winter, and when I think of winter, I associate it with like December. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Oh, they happen by the late December. Okay, I guess where they might publish it in December and then call it like the next year. Because they do that for oh yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. All right, I'll take a look at that. Thank you, thank you.